Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is December 17th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. I'm backing this up to yesterday, and you can see that frontal system swinging through Northern California across the Bay Area. And then you see it as it loses its punch as it moves down towards the Central Coast, and nothing for Southern California. That's kind of been a common reoccurring theme here, and we'll take a look at the extended forecast to see if we can get a break from that action, bring some rain to Southern California. Of course, no promises there, but we will be taking a look on a daily basis. Yesterday, check it out. Look at all the wind reports across some of the higher terrain. Also, you can see some of the snowfall amounts out there. If I click on that, you can zoom in on some of that. You can see 6 miles west of Truckee, 7.3 inches of snow, and quite a few wind reports again across the higher terrain of the Sierra Nevada. Checking out the weather stations here, I get a lot of questions about which weather station I recommend. Well, for the price, you can't beat the Tempest weather station. And if you click on my link down below, you get 10% off. You can still get it in time for Christmas. And imagine opening it up with the family. It's a smart weather station. It's got a great smartphone app. And you can see all the locations out here. I've selected this one right here on Highway 88. And it also will show you advisories or warnings or any kind of outlooks that you are under. And you can click on that and you can get text information. It builds its own forecast for you. If I click on this, you can go back and look at all your data that's stored in the cloud for you. It's got lightning detection system. It's really a fun weather station. And it's not raining at this location, as you can see. And a little bit of sunshine hitting the solar radiation sensor. So again, link below, 10% off. But you can see I've scrolled out here through, and you can see some of the winds over the last few days as well. So yeah, very fun weather station. So taking a look here, this is Sacramento National Weather Service. They issued this morning. We do have the potential for some systems to be rolling across Northern California. We'll be taking a look at that coming up here, and with some lower snow levels and dropping by Christmas Eve. So they say across the higher terrain mainly. Of course, you're not talking about lower elevation snowfall or anything like that. But we will be watching this over the next few days. However, in the meantime, Los Angeles National Weather Service last night, we talked about this yesterday, some of the Santa Ana winds will be blowing. Not an exceptionally strong event, but that doesn't really mean much when you got the low relative humidities and you're gusting over 40 miles per hour. All it takes is a spark to start some of this fire danger. And yeah, rapid fire spread, extreme fire behavior is possible. You can see there are some red flag warnings up. There's a high wind warning, and there's some wind advisories out there as well, mainly north and west of Los Angeles there, and some of the high wind warnings just north. So if we take a look at San Diego, they don't have red flag warnings, but I did want to mention it here. There will be some offshore winds, not exceptionally strong, and the low relative humidity. So still can get some fire danger with that. And if we take a look here, no precipitation except for extreme northwest California. And we back that up. That starts early on Wednesday morning with the potent system going through the Pacific Northwest. And we get some high pressure filling in behind that. And that'll start those offshore winds coming up. All this stuff out over the open ocean is just purely noise in the North American model. Taking a look at 80-meter wind speed, put this into motion, and as we go on in through today, see the wind starting to kick up out of the northeast there, and they become probably the strongest here as we go through very late tonight and on in through Wednesday morning. And it does show some fairly robust offshore winds across the higher terrain to the east of San Diego, and across the Baja Peninsula, desert areas. It's going to be a crosswind across some of the interstates, so watch out for that. And of course, the fire danger across the region will re-emerge with those offshore winds. Now, as we scroll all the way through Wednesday night, we're still got the offshore winds, and the low relative humidities will stay in place as long as we have them. So all the way through Thursday morning, even though they do weaken, we are still going to have some fire danger. And if we take a look at just off the surface, about 2,500 feet on the European model, you'll see these winds as we go through the day today are clearly turning offshore, racing out over the ocean. And you can see the north winds across the desert areas there as well. And let's see how long the European holds on these offshore winds until, look at that, all the way on into Thursday night before we finally start to switch things up. Now, accumulated 10-meter max wind gusts. Again, I mentioned this, not an exceptionally strong event, but once you start gusting over 30, 40 miles per hour with low relative humidities, it doesn't take much to get fires going. And you can see some of the stronger wind gusts out here just north and west of the Los Angeles metro. So taking a wider look at things, Hawaiian Islands bottom left, the Pacific Ocean is centered, and there's the state of California. And again, offshore flow along with this ridging, and then we bring some systems through the Pacific Northwest. We start to take a look at when our next system will be arriving. Looks like a frontal system as we go through potentially Friday, and you can see some of these trying to get closer to the coastline here, and then maybe some additional systems after that. That one would be kind of nice there, Christmas Eve. That wouldn't be bad coming across the region. Again, we'll be breaking this this down as we get closer. This is still a week out right now, so you don't put too much stock in that just yet. We'll see how that trends, and then maybe we can get some more active weather here towards the end of the run. This is the European that's hot off the presses. Look at that trough digging down across some of the Pacific Ocean towards Hawaii as we go through the end of the year. Now, taking a look at the European, this is the same model we just looked at. Again, just clipping Northern California, offshore winds for a couple of days, and then we get the next frontal system trying to swing through Friday night. It's fairly weak and only for places north of the Bay Area, and not even much precipitation at that. Stronger frontal system looks to arrive this weekend, as you can see it moving through. And then another frontal system as we go through maybe Sunday and early next week. And yeah, we could get a couple rounds of storms here as we go on in towards the Christmas period. We'll see how that develops and how that trends over the next few days. And we take a look at the way off into fantasy land here, and you can see some storms out over the Pacific, but not much precipitation showing up for Southern California. It's a bummer. I wish we could get some of these lighter rainfall events down into Southern California, because when they do come, they tend to come hot and heavy, and then a lot of that water runs off. It's why it's so difficult to capture water for some places of California. You get it all at once, and you can't just capture it because the flow's coming in so strong and it's got debris in it, and you got flooding events and whatnot. So, you don't want to risk your dam failure out there, or some of the levees and whatnot. And some of the reservoirs, it can't capture all that heavy rain at once. So you need to spread out over a longer period of time, and we're just not getting it here across the southern portion of the state. Now, on a good note here, we do have a very active jet stream that is extending across Pacific Ocean, which typically can mean good things for storm development here for California. But right now it's pointed a little bit further north, although it stays pretty persistent. You can see it pointed into the Pacific Northwest. If you get a little bit of a jog south with this jet stream as we go through the forecast coming up here, then you can really open up the door for some stronger storm development here. But right now, we're just playing the waiting game and watching day by day. Taking a look at the artificial intelligence model. I'm just going to scroll through this. Here we go over the next, through the weekend and into early next week. You can see we are getting, again, some decent precipitation amounts, better than decent. These are some pretty heavy amounts across Northern California as we go through hour 300, but not much to speak of across Southern California. And, hopefully that will change. It always can. But again, you can see that pattern persists with the heavier rainfall Central Coast up through Northwest California. Here's the 6 to 10 day above average, 6 to 10 day precipitation. It does hint at that across the Bay Area and some of the central and northwest portion of California. And then the 8 to 14 day, look at this Mary Torchmas above average virtually the entire lower 48. Yeah, not great to see for cold weather lovers. 8 to 14 days, so the above average here, hanging out and trying to get down towards Central or Southern California. We'll keep revisiting that as we go. But if we take a look at the experimental, look at the risk of heavy precipitation, December 24th through the end of almost the end of the year. There's slight risk and moderate risk for some of the coastal areas, and this is not bad to see as well. Risk for some heavy snow. We'll watch how that trends, and the risk for some high winds does exist here as well. But anyway, otherwise, watch out for those offshore winds. We got fire danger coming up here over the next few days. We'll continue to watch for those systems moving through. We'll break it down day by day. Hope you guys are having a good day. Click like and subscribe. We'll do this all again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.